The crystalline halls of the Zephyrian trade station hummed with tension as Ambassador Corvex approached the obsidian throne. Queen Vexithara of the Dominion sat motionless, her 6 arms folded across her chitinous chest, compound eyes reflecting, the light like fractured diamonds. Behind her, a dozen of her elite guards stood at attention, their plasma rifles charged and ready. The human delegation had arrived 3 days ago with the largest treasure fleet Earth had ever assembled. Corvex's people, the Zephyrians, had been mediating interspecies conflicts for millennia, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The fate of an entire solar system hung in the balance. "Your Majesty," Corvex began, his crystalline voice carrying across the vast chamber. "The human representatives have brought tribute as requested. Perhaps we might begin negotiations?" Queen Vexithara's mandibles clicked, a sound that had preceded the destruction of 17 civilizations. "Show me what these mammals dare to offer for the lives of their colonies." Captain Sarah Chen stepped forward, her naval uniform crisp despite 3 days of diplomatic hell. Behind her, a procession of cargo bots wheeled in cases that gleamed under the station's artificial suns. With practiced efficiency, her team opened the containers, revealing Earth's most precious offerings. 10,000 kilograms of refined gold from Earth's deepest mines, Chen announced. Rare Earth elements that your scientists have deemed valuable. Platinum reserves that took our species centuries to accumulate. The Queen's guards murmured among themselves, their translator implants working overtime. Corvex himself felt his photosynthetic skin flush brighter. It was indeed an impressive hoard. But Vexithara remained unmoved. "And for this trinket collection, you expect me to spare 3 billion human lives on Kepler 442b? "Your Majesty," Chen continued, "we also offer technological exchanges. Our medical advances, our agricultural innovations." "Silence!" The Queen's voice cut through the air like a plasma blade. She rose from her throne, her towering 8-foot frame casting shadows across the treasure. "You pathetic creatures still. Don't understand, do you?" She began to pace, her clawed feet clicking against the polished floor. "For 800 cycles, the Dominion has conquered worlds. We have seen species offer us their art, their knowledge, their very souls. Yet they all fall the same way, through weakness." Chen felt her jaw tighten, but she maintained her diplomatic composure. Behind her, she sensed the tension in her small security detail. Sergeant Marcus Webb shifted slightly, his hand instinctively moving toward his sidearm before catching himself. "Your gold is pretty," the Queen continued, picking up a bar and crushing it between 2 fingers like soft clay. "Your technology might amuse our scientists for a few solar cycles. But what you haven't offered is the one thing that might actually interest me." Corvex stepped forward nervously. "Your Majesty, perhaps if you could clarify what you seek." The Queen's compound eyes suddenly fixed on something behind Chen. Her head tilted, studying with predatory interest. Slowly, she raised one clawed arm and pointed directly at Sergeant Webb. "That one." The chamber fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. Chen turned to follow the Queen's gaze, her blood running cold as she realized the alien ruler was pointing at her subordinate. "I don't understand, Your Majesty," Chen said carefully. Queen Vexithara descended from her throne platform, moving with fluid grace toward the human delegation. Her guards tensed, but she waved them back. 800 cycles of conquest, she said, circling Webb like a shark. "Do you know what I've learned? Civilizations that offer gold are already beaten. They believe wealth can substitute for strength. They have forgotten what their ancestors knew, that survival belongs to those willing to fight for it." Webb stood perfectly still, his brown eyes meeting the Queen's alien gaze without flinching. He'd been through 3 combat deployments and had stared down worse things than overgrown insects, even if they did rule half the galaxy. But this one, the Queen continued, her voice dropping to an almost whisper, this one doesn't cower. Doesn't offer me shiny objects and expect mercy. He stands ready to fight a battle he cannot win, for people he barely knows, because it is right. She stopped directly in front of Webb, towering over him. Tell me, warrior, would you die for your colonies? Yes, ma'am, Webb replied without hesitation. Would you kill for them? If necessary, ma'am. The Queen's mandibles spread wide, what Corvex recognized as her species' equivalent of a smile. And that, Ambassador Corvex, is why I will spare the human colonies. The chamber erupted in confused murmurs. Chen stepped forward, her diplomatic training struggling to catch up with events. Your Majesty, I don't understand. Sergeant Webb is... Just... The Queen spun to face her, those compound eyes blazing. Your sergeant represents something I haven't seen in 2 centuries of warfare. Most species we encounter have grown soft, content to hide behind walls of gold and technology. They've forgotten the warrior spirit that lifted them from whatever primitive world spawned them. She gestured broadly at the assembled treasure. Any race can mine gold, Captain Chen. Any civilization can accumulate wealth. But few retain the courage to stand and fight when everything they hold dear is threatened. That courage is rarer than all the precious metals in your galaxy. Queen Vexthara returned to her throne, settling back into its obsidian embrace. The Dominion does not war with warriors, Captain. We hunt prey. Your species has proven they are not prey. Corvex felt his crystalline heart racing as he processed the implications. In all his years of diplomacy, he'd never seen anything like this. The Kepler colonies are under my protection, the Queen declared. Any who threaten them will answer to the Dominion. Take your gold, humans. You'll need it to build a civilization worthy of warriors like this one. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Webb caught the Queen's attention one last time. Your Majesty, he said simply. Thank you. She clicked her mandibles again. Thank you, Sergeant. It has been far too long since I met someone who reminded me why the strong should protect the weak rather than prey upon them. Captain Chen would later write in her report that sometimes the most valuable currency isn't what you offer, but what you're willing to sacrifice. The treasure returned to Earth intact, but the real gold was the respect of a queen who had learned to value courage over coin. The human colonies on Kepler 442b would thrive under Dominion protection, never knowing they owed their lives not to Earth's wealth, but to one soldier's unwavering courage in the face of impossible odds.